This week on Quality Digest Live, we're talking enterprise-wide quality management with Matthew Littlefield of LNS Research.
Plus, we look at the past, present, and possible future of scientific management. That and more when we come back.
Welcome back to Quality Digest Live for June 21st, 2013. QDL is your weekly look at who and what is making the news in the world of quality. I'm Mike Richman, publisher of Quality Digest.
And I'm Quality Digest editor-in-chief, Dirk Ducharme. So, we talk a lot about 3D printing.
Yep, we do.
Well, 3D printing has come of age, according to the online magazine Printed Electronics World. According to their research, 3D printing surpassed $1 billion in revenues during 2012, with growth expected to continue across all target markets to 2025. Across the board, printer manufacturers are reporting a surge in sales. In fact, some cannot even meet the demand, as awareness of the technologies and what they offer grows. As you can see in this chart, bring that up on the screen here, there will be a short leveling off or a dip in the trend in the short term as companies' capital expenditures turn over. So if we're looking at the chart here, you see at the left-hand side, 2012, a huge spurt in 2013, and then a little bit of a tailing off in 2014 and 2015 as those capital expenditures level off. But it is expected that revenues will ramp up and hit the $4 billion mark by 2025. Now, as we also saw in that slide, most of the growth has been in aerospace and automotive, which makes a lot of sense. We know that 3D printing is no longer for prototyping. It's actually working its way fairly quickly into manufacturing. But it also may affect the test and measurement market. Now, I don't know how many of you watched the metrology roundtable that we ran yesterday, but at the very end of it, you can go out to our YouTube channel and find that metrology roundtable. About 25 minutes after it, into it, Zvonimir Kotnik of Hexagon Metrology sets up a very interesting scenario. And what he's saying is that, look, one of the problems with 3D printing is that, actually there's discussion between him and the guy, John Ziegert from University of North Carolina, is that 3D printing, sure, you can have 3D printed parts and you could verify the part afterwards using traditional methods. So you would, just like on a CNC, you'd take a part off of a CNC and you would put it, you would put it under a CMM or a 3D scanner or whatnot, and you would verify your part. But the thing is, with 3D printed parts, it is now possible to print features that are not accessible. In other words, you can even do features within features on 3D printing. It's very possible to have, for instance, a fully enclosed gearbox. Well, how are you going to measure that with any kind of metrology tool other than, let's say, CT, computer tomography? There's no way to get inside. So, Zvonimir is saying, look, as the 3D printer is printing, measure at each point. If you're familiar with how 3D printing works, it lays down a very thin layer, and then it builds on top of that layer and so on and so forth until you get your part. Zvonimir is saying, look, there's a perfect entree for the 3D metrology market to be coupled with 3D printing, is that you lay down a layer, you scan it, you verify that it's what it should be, the dimensions what they should be. If they aren't, you can always feed back into the printing process and correct it as you go. So you would actually be measuring features as they're being built. Interesting, very interesting application. So watch, my guess is that you're going to see a huge explosion in 3D printing. In fact, my guess is it's actually going to come from the toy market.
Interesting, okay. And
I'm guessing the toy market, I'm guessing within 5 years, you're going to see 3D printing in the toy market.
Interesting, yeah, that would make sense. It's a big market.
It's a big market, and also
a lot of plastics, which is a great.
Well, I mean, think about it. When I was a kid, I had a vacuum form machine. I also had a type of injection molding machine. These were toys. I had a machine that would allow you to make rubber toys. These were kids' toys. No reason this shouldn't go into the toy market as well. Imagine they would give the kid a piece of software, right, that has standard parts, maybe licensed parts, Disney characters, cartoon characters, Hello Kitty, whatever, and they could position those toys the way they want them, maybe move their arms on a very simple software interface,
Yep.
print them out.
Yeah.
A day later, they've got a custom-made toy for themselves of their favorite characters, positioned the way they want them.
Yeah.
So you could have Han Solo standing, you could have Han Solo sitting, just by manipulating the part on your computer screen. I mean, to me, it's a toy market. I'm saying 5 years, you're going to see your kids beginning asking you for a 3D printer.
Dang. I remember, I mean, the only modifications I could make was Mr. Potato Head.
Exactly. I'm going to put the ear over here.
Over here, over there, wherever. Legos, you know, I mean, this is great. Well, that's a really interesting insight, though, Dirk. I think that probably makes a lot of sense, definitely. Good stuff there. Okay, well, who of you out there, is interested in winning the International Organization of Standardization's first ever ISO prize? This award is a unique recognition to an individual who has made a significant contribution to the understanding or use of ISO standards. The winner will claim 20,000 Swiss francs to finance a specific project or research. That's a lot of money, Dirk. We looked it up. That's pretty much a one-to-one.
I think it's like $21,000, something like that.
To the euro. It's about that amount. So nice chunk of change there. The prize is specifically geared towards an individual outside of ISO's community. That means that ISO members, those working on ISO technical committees or mirror committees, or anyone within the organization's central secretariat are excluded from consideration. So who is eligible? ISO is seeking an individual, not an organization, underline that, who is a passionate advocate for ISO standards. The preferred applicant will be 45 years of age or younger. So you and I, Dirk, especially you, are out. So it can't be me or Dirk, but it could be one of you out there. If you think you have what it takes to win the ISO prize, explain your candidacy in 300 words or less by telling ISO how you have made a significant contribution to the understanding or use of ISO standards in a way that addresses economic, technological, and/or societal challenges. In addition, include a 150-word proposal summarizing the project or research for which you are planning to use the prize money, that 20,000 Swiss francs. Applications can be submitted via email to isoprize@iso.org no later than Friday, July 5th. So it's coming up pretty quick, so get on it. For more information on the story, as well as other pieces that Dirk and I will be covering on the show, and by the way, there's a link to that application if you want to apply for the ISO prize. Just click on the story links right below the video player screen, just right down there.
That's right. And if you have any questions anytime during the show, just send them to us at qdl@qualitydigest.com.
I'm glad you said that, because Matt Littlefield is going to be with us in a minute, and if you want to talk, have a question about EQMS, Enterprise Quality Management System Standards, or software, please write us right now.
Okay, well, speaking of which, when we're talking about quality management strategies, it's important to note the differences between, let's say, small and large organizations. Often the size of a company will greatly affect its focus points, its challenges, and also its approaches in regard to ensuring the quality of its products and processes. Interestingly, there can even be a significant differences and similarities between company sizes within the same industry. A recent survey conducted by LNS Research did a side-by-side analysis of small and large organizations with regard to objectives, pain points, and IT strategies. Matt Littlefield, President and Principal Analyst for LNS Research, is with us via Skype to tell us a little bit about the research. Hi, Matt.
Hey, guys. Great to be back.
Hey.
Thank you.
So, let's talk about this survey a little bit. Can you tell us what the overall purpose of this survey was?
Sure. This was really a seminal survey for us at LNS Research. We've been conducting this data collection effort over the past actually over a year now, as we started in June of 2012. So we're excited to be able to share this research, and the goal of it was to be able to identify those best practices around business process, around leadership, around metrics, and around technology. So those are the four focus areas of the research study. And as you mentioned, we want to be able to drill that down, not just broadly across all different types of companies, but we want to say, what are the differences by industry, or what are the differences by company size, and help companies really drive that strategy based on their particular drivers and standing in the marketplace.
And can you give us some high-level insights into the results? I mean, what do these responses indicate about pain points that respondents are experiencing, for instance?
Yeah, there's some interesting high-level results for sure. When we look at companies together, overall, companies are very focused on growth. That's one of their main financial objectives. But when we look at what's happening in operations or in quality, very often it's cost or efficiency. So it's manufacturing efficiency gains, it's cost of quality improvements. So one of the things we're going to be talking about is how do you take what we do in quality and transition it into something that's a growth enabler? How do we connect manufacturing quality or engineering quality up to an improved customer experience, improved sales, those sorts of things, not just cost reductions in terms of reduced warranty reserves or reduced scrap rates. So that's one big finding that we've seen. Another one is just the emergence of the enterprise quality management space in general. If you look at more mature software markets like ERP, you'll see 75, 80, 90% adoption rates depending on the study or industry that you're looking at. When we look at quality management software, it's much lower. It's 20%, 25% depending on the industry you look at. But what our survey showed is, again, depending on the industry, between 25 and 35% of companies are currently evaluating the system. So it's very much an emerging space that we find a lot of companies researching right now and trying to understand how to build that business case. And I guess one of the major benefits that we've seen from the research and business case is connecting that benefit beyond just compliance to operational benefits. So that real-time visibility into metrics and the ability to coordinate processes across engineering, manufacturing, and the supply chain are driving performance benefits, both cost and efficiency benefits. So it really is more than just a compliance initiative on quality. We're moving the dial on a lot of key metrics.
So Matt, and we should remind all the viewers out there, we have an interesting webinar on this topic coming up next Tuesday on June 25th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And Matt and Dirk, you guys will be conducting the webinar. So Matt, really this webinar is going to take the research and look at it from the perspective of how software helps to alleviate some of the issues that you discussed. So can you drill down into exactly what it is that software does? That when people do adopt software within the enterprise-wide quality management space, what does that do for you? Where does that get you?
So that's one of the challenges that we've seen a lot of companies having is defining what should be part of an enterprise quality management software implementation. And our research shows that most companies just do a few small things. So they might implement an NC CAPA process or a document control process. May, depending on the industry, be for pure compliance, or it may be for some continuous improvement initiatives. So they have some formalized process and visibility in that process of identifying issues and making sure that a robust continuous improvement process is being applied to improve those issues and reduce those nonconformances over time. Our research has also shown that you need to expand beyond that. So go beyond just NC CAPA and doc control to other areas of the business. So that could be audit management, supplier quality management, risk management. There's a number of different areas that we're seeing companies expand into on a functional basis. And the other area is what we call closed-loop quality. So it's just the flowing of information through a workflow back from one part of the organization to another. So very often that involves taking quality data from the field, quality data from manufacturing, and making sure it gets back to engineering so they can make better decisions in the new product introduction process.
What else will we hear about on the webinar this coming Tuesday, just to kind of wrap us up real quick here?
Sure. One thing we're going to talk and share about is real benchmark data and metrics. So by industry, we're going to show how companies are performing in cost of quality, OEE, on-time and complete shipments, new product introductions, scrap rates. So companies will really be able to understand where they compare to their peer groups by industry, and then maybe if you're not where you want to be in one or two of the metrics, some concrete steps for improving those metrics, some based on technology, other based on business process or leadership changes.
And finally, I understand one of the things that you're going to be doing as part of this webinar is giving away a free ebook. What will be in that ebook?
So the ebook is a very visual representation of the data and findings from the presentation. So if you're like me and you can't sit down and read a 20-page report, but you want to get the key findings in a very visual and easy to digest way, perhaps share it with other folks on the team who don't have as much quality experience as you might. It's a great way to quickly communicate in a visual way the main findings of the report and apply it to your business. So that's our goal of the ebook, to make it easy to communicate those key findings about how to adopt EQMS and what the value is from the software.
Okay. Well, Matt Littlefield, President and Chief, do I have that? Principal Analyst with LNS Research.
I'll take Chief.
Chief Analyst, whatever works. All right. Well, we'll see you again on Tuesday then at the webinar.
Great. Looking forward to it, guys.
Okay, thanks, Matt, for joining us.
Thanks, Matt. Yes, and any of you out there who want to register for it, there's a link right in the story, right below the player page again. Right below the video screen. You can check out the article from LNS, and right in there you can register for the webinar, and you can see right there on your screen a little bit of information about it. The global state of enterprise-wide quality management software. That's going to be again next Tuesday, 25th, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Sign up for it now. It's going to be a good one. Dirk, you always do a great job with those. Matt does a great job presenting.
Yeah, Matt's great. Yeah.
That's great. It's going to really be fun. You're going to learn a lot. And you're going to get a really good ebook out of this as well. So check that out. Okay.
All
right. Well, Dirk, I had an interesting article. I'm a history guy. I love history, and I jumped all over this one. I like it. I think we need to know where we came from to understand where we're going. It's one of my key tenets. I think it's very, very important. And apparently, Trip Babbitt is a history guy too, because he wrote an article called "Revisiting Taylorism at the Watertown Arsenal." And that appeared in Monday's issue of Quality Digest Daily from Trip Babbitt. Trip, a frequent contributor of ours, and a systems thinker. So approach that, understand that's where he's coming from on this, is from the systems perspective. Taylorism, of course, as many of you know, really is analogous with the term scientific management, which was really the thing in quality about 100 years ago, 110 years ago, right at the turn of last century. It's funny, when you say turn of the century, people now kind of know that you mean 1900.
Right.
But really, technically, you have to say turn of the last century, because if you say turn of the century,
it's 2000.
That was 2000. Yeah. So anyway, I guess that'd be turn of the millennium. I don't know. Regardless, but at the turn of last century, 1900, Taylorism, scientific management, was the thing. It was a way to begin to really initially codify industrial manufacturing on that level, where it was really moving away from a cottage industry to becoming a big business. And scientific management was a way to look at what people were doing, what workers were doing, and try to make them do it better, right? So Taylor would basically look at somebody's process and say, okay, well, why are you putting that over there? Why are you wasting this time? And it led to time and motion studies eventually when they laid over the motion part of that too. But initially his thing was, let's cut out the time. Let's make sure we do this work quicker so we can be more productive. And being more productive makes the company more money, makes the managers more company. It should make the employees more money as well, at least in theory. Well, workers then, as workers now, didn't really buy into scientific management so much. They felt like it was dehumanizing.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it really was.
Yeah, sure.
It really was. I mean, really, it didn't account for the creative insights maybe you get during the course of doing your work. And it would basically say, you've got to do X amount per hour, and once you've established your baseline of X amount per hour, you got to do X plus Y. You've got to always move it up and be quicker and quicker. And people felt like that made them into machines, and it really, really did, I think.
So instead we replaced them with machines. So
they replaced them with machines. But, really what happened here, and the Watertown Arsenal they refers to in his headline here was a plant, an arsenal in New England that embraced scientific management around the turn of the century, and they got a bitter strike out of it as a result. The workers didn't like that, and they struck over it. And as a matter of fact, what happened was Congress actually stepped in 1912 and decreed that scientific management could not be used in the Watertown Arsenal because it was interfering with productivity.
Really?
So, and that was kind of the beginning of the end. And again, Tripp talks about it a little bit. That was kind of the beginning of the end a little bit to the embracing, the universal embracing of scientific management and Taylorism. And then, of course, Deming later, with the Red Bead experiment, really kind of blew it up, where he said, well, it's not the workers, it's the process.
Right.
And that really is the more modern approach to this thing, is that really we know now, modern management knows now that it's not about what the workers can do so much as the process around the workers. You make that process better, you give the workers the tools they need to do the job, and you'll be more efficient. You'll have more productivity. Well, all that's well and good, and I think we understand that's where we're coming from, but Tripp's take on this is he believes that elements of scientific management are still pretty deeply embedded in the DNA of many organizations and many managers. And what he says is that managers still look at workers as cost centers. They look at them as in many cases, non-value adding pieces of the puzzle. They don't see them for being the humans that they are, that can add their creativity to the process and energy to the process. Now, we don't talk about that. That's not what it said. We always talk about buy-in and everybody has engagement, but he really wonders if that's really what is going on in the DNA of these organizations. And he thinks that most managers think that workers need to be tightly controlled because they don't really trust them. They don't trust management doesn't trust workers. And because of that, the functional separation of work increases, and there's fewer and fewer people who see the organization as a single structure. All this basically creates silos, and if you've read Tripp, you understand these are real sins according to anybody's really perspective on. And as a result of what he calls neo-Taylorism, U.S. industry in particular is no longer competitive, and he has a whole lineup of sins that he kind of lays at the altar of Taylorism. And I want to read you a quote because one of our readers responded to this and took a little bit of umbrage to it, but I think the exchange between this reader and Tripp was interesting. So let's throw that up there. It's a little bit of a lengthy quote, but I want to read it to you. Tripp closes the article saying, collectively, Americans are paying the price in a lack of competitiveness, loss of profit, unemployment, and ruining of lives. And the reader, in this case Scott Marley, says, wow, that's a heavy conclusion. All because of Frederick Taylor? Functional separation of work did not begin with Taylor. It goes back to at least to hunter-gatherer societies, and has been known since 1776 as the division of labor. This article makes some sweeping statements with little evidence. One, functional separation of work creates one of the biggest design problems for work today, and it exists only because management carries it over from previous regimes. What is the evidence for this? Two, management's article towards workers today is one of... I'm sorry?
Attitude.
Attitude. I'm sorry. Management's attitude towards workers today is one of distrust, not in my experience. Perhaps a better place to look for the cause of a lack of competitiveness and unemployment is the distance we've gotten away from the principles of free market economics with crony capitalism, trade union protectionism, and the regulatory burden of a 5,000-page federal tax code. Scott Marley. Good points. Scott raised a lot of good points there, and Tripp responded. Taylor doesn't recognize division of labor from scientific management because he assumed the division of labor to be pre-existing. Let's not confuse Taylor's principle of analysis, scientific management, with the principle of action, division of labor. Taylor focused on work processes of his era. He ignored indirect and managerial processes as evidenced at Watertown Arsenal, again with that horrible strike. Management's attitude towards workers often appears to be one of trust, but management seeks compliance to their dictates through an inspection bureaucracy that you, Scott, recognize as problematic here in the U.S. Workers rarely have the right to make decisions as management dictates things like you can give a $50 credit, but anything higher has to go to varying levels of management approval. So yes, there is distrust. Good debate there. I think there's validity on both sides of that, and we've seen the counter to that $50 limit at places like Ritz-Carlton, which has much greater limit.
$1,000 limit, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's $1,000, at least $1,000, where they can just make a problem go away.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of, there is evidence that Taylorism has been discredited, and American industry in particular has gotten away from it. But I think Tripp makes a good point. I think that there is some lingering feeling among managers that workers are maybe more trouble than they're worth sometimes. We need them, we got to do the work, but gosh,
pesky workers.
Just do your job. Don't comment. Just do what we tell you to do. Well, that's really the antithesis of what we know now to be the way that you should manage an organization.
Yeah.
You look at Toyota, where you can pull the chain, right? You can stop the line. Any worker can stop the line for any reason because he or she sees a problem. Boy, that's really not Taylorism, right? So you see how far we've come, but maybe we still have a little bit of a way to go. Yeah. I think it's really good to think about those things and ask ourselves, all of us, if we're really embracing what we know is the best way to do things, or if we're still kind of stuck in some old legacies.
Yeah, I mean, good discussion between Tripp and Scott there. And actually, we encourage all of you, you read an article, hey,
comment on it.
Comment on it. If you don't know how to comment, you do have to be a member of the website. That's free. Just go to the upper right corner, click register, subscribe, and that'll get you on there, and you can leave comments to your heart's delight.
That's right, and engaging commentary on what we're doing on Quality Digest.
Exactly. A couple weeks ago, Mike and I, and actually the whole crew, were in Las Vegas for the Hexagon Live User Conference, and while there we had a chance to look at a lot of new equipment. So this week's Tech Corner is coming to you, recorded, live on tape. Live on tape. From Hexagon Live. The product is the Optiv Classic CMM. Take a look. Okay, I'm here right now with Zvonimir Kotnik to take a look at a brand new product from Hexagon Metrology, the Optiv Classic. Zvonimir, tell us about the Optiv Classic.
Yes, Dirk, thank you very much. So this is an Optiv Classic 443. It's the new machine for Hexagon Metrology. It's a multi-sensor system. What it means to be a multi-sensor system is that we have both a video camera as a primary device, that we're using to collect the data with, and we're using another sensor that is a touch sensor to collect data with. The idea is that for any manufacturer out there that is collecting data of different devices or components can make a very intelligent decision on the fly what sensor to use as a sensor that fits best their measurement requirements and measurement tasks.
And what are some of the key features?
Well, the key feature is actually the design and the construction of the machine. It's very much a granite-based system that gives us lots of stability, so we're practically vibration-free, which then gives us much more accurate results during the measurement process, particularly because the camera is the primary measuring device. We want to make sure that we have lots of stability in that measurement task so that the stage is not moving during the measurement task.
And are you going to be able to run us through maybe an operation on here that we can see what's going on?
Right. The other thing that is very critical, or I think one of the things about this product, just like every other multi-sensor product of Hexagon metrology, is really the use of the PCDMAS vision software. So just like every other customer that we have that is used to using PCDMAS on our standard bridge-style coordinate measuring machines, they can actually walk up to a vision-style machine and start using it without much additional training, because the look and feel of the software is the same. So one of the primary things that I would like to highlight about PCDMAS Vision is an ability to capture multiple features within the screenshot. That means whatever the system is seeing on the screen, we can just take a snapshot within a milliseconds and capture all the features that the camera sees, which is an incredible thing because suddenly we're reducing the measurement task by quite a bit, and we're able to move quicker through the program, which gives us a higher throughput, which most of the manufacturers are looking for as well.
Is that something that we can see here on the screen, what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, right now.
Okay, what are we seeing now?
Yes. So we're just zooming in at this point, just showing different lighting techniques, and right now we're going through the zooming process, just zooming in onto the part, and now system is actually doing multi-capturing, so you're now seeing on the screen all of the different features that the system is taking automatically.
So that's actually one of the key things about this is you don't have to run a measurement program in any particular order. Do I have that right?
Well, the program is written in a particular order, so the system will just run through the order in which the program has been written.
Okay.
So.
And is this available now? The Classic is?
Yes, Optiv Classic 443 is available for sale in North America today.
Okay, Zvonimir, thank you for showing us the Optiv Classic.
Thank you very much. Sir.
Okay.
Well, there you have it.
There you go. Optiv Classic 443, I believe that was, right?
That's right. And Zvonimir Kotnik of Hexagon demoing it with our own Dirk right there at Dirk. Amazing, you just flew through time and space.
I'm fast.
That's
Zvonimir, a very sharp guy.
Yeah,
if you
he's
ever
a
have a
great
chance to meet him at a trade show or something, talk to him. A very interesting man to talk to.
Great guy, really good insights, and check out that roundtable too. The roundtable that you guys did with Zvonimir and Steve and John, also from the show. Really good content. We're going to try to do more of those roundtables going forward as well.
Yep.
So check that out. And also check out next week. We have the webinar. Don't forget about that. EQMS. It's on Tuesday. Again, it's 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. You can sign up for it right below the player page, right down there. And there's an article from LNS, and you can go into the article, and right in there is a link out to that story, out to the webinar. So sign up for it now. Get your free ebook. And before we close, I want to wish all of you a happy summer solstice. Today's the first day of summer. It is also the birthday of our own Laurel Tennis.
That's right.
Laurel, who does so much for all of us around here, great editor, great co-worker. We love her. So Laurel, happy birthday to you.
Yep.
And have a great one. And all of you, have a great weekend. And we'll catch you next week.
So long.
See ya. Bye.